Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Appreciate you jumping on. In this video, we're going to discuss a number of things, including crypto being the fastest adopted technology of all time. Stay tuned to hear what Blackrock thinks. Before we jump into the news, let's look at pricing. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. I certainly appreciate it. Bitcoin sitting at 62,421. Pretty much flat over the last 24 hours. Ethereum, 2,428, down a little over 1%. Solana sitting at 143, down a little over 2%. And XRP, down 1.5%, sitting at 52, almost 53 cents. So not much to look at as far as pricing goes over the last 24 hours. Let's jump into some news. First, coming from Smoke Dog, he's talking about the digital revolution, and the European Central Bank is saying it has already silently happened. DLT-based infrastructures are silently rising in the background of the financial system, built on ISO 20022. Here he has a document with a few things highlighted. It says, so I would argue that as far as market infrastructure is concerned, the digital revolution has already silently happened. Devote some remarks to debate on the DLT, direct ledger technology-based infrastructure. Another prominent project is the consolidation of Target 2 and T2S platforms, which go live in 10 days. The new system features the ISO 20022 messaging standard. And then finally, it will allow participants to assess move collateral on a domestic and cross-border basis and to settle monetary policy operations. So it's happening, folks, and most of you that follow crypto probably already know this. This is just another example of what's happening out there, and certainly the EU is ahead of most, certainly ahead of the US when it comes to clarity. So Watcher Guru here says $10 trillion asset manager BlackRock says crypto is being adopted faster than the internet and mobile phones. Let's take a listen to this gentleman from BlackRock at this digital assets conference and what he has to say. Take a listen.
One of the fastest growing technologies we've seen in the last few years. On the right-hand side of the chart, you can see our adoption curve. This is just looking at how quickly certain assets are adopted by a society. And you can see that blockchain and digital assets are being adopted faster than major revolutions before it, whether that's the internet or whether that's cell phones. And there's a couple of reasons for this. The first reason is just we're living in a more digital economy than ever before. If we're consuming things online, streaming videos, playing video games, buying digital content, it makes sense to have digitally native assets to conduct those transactions, particularly when there's, secondly, and importantly, in a year like this year, where over half the world's population is voting for new leadership, not just the elections in the United States, in Mexico, in India, and the European Union, we're seeing more geopolitical risk than before, and in fact, declining trust in institutions, whether that's trust in government institutions for maintaining peace and order, whether that's trust in central banks in terms of keeping inflation under control. More distrust has exacerbated the need for a global monetary alternative. The third we're seeing is demographic changes, the rise of the millennial and Gen Z generation. Millennials, at least in the United States, are set to inherit trillions of dollars, are entering peak earnings years in their work, and are increasingly playing an important role in the economy. And millennials are very different from previous generations because we, were the first generation to be digitally native, growing up with the internet, growing up with computers. We understand digital better than previous generations, and that means we're more likely to adopt digital currencies. And then finally, what I think has been really important to BlackRock in our journey in the digital asset space has been the maturing of the infrastructure in digital assets. We've seen billions of dollars move in venture capital and private equity into digital assets to fund incredible innovation in blockchain. We've seen the regulatory environment evolve to get more constructive around digital assets and how people can buy them. We've seen extremely talented people leave traditional finance to go into DeFi to help lead some of these innovations. And all of this infrastructure has really matured over the last 5 years. So between all of these tailwinds, it's really creating the opportunity for digital assets to gain broader adoption across more investors around the world.
So good find there from Watcher.guru. Give them a follow. They put out great content. But certainly if BlackRock is saying this, I mean, the world's largest asset manager, they probably have some research behind it and they absolutely know what's going on. So it makes sense for them to say that crypto is being adopted quicker than anything else has in history. Moving on to Smoke Dog, he says major signs that U.S. crypto regulations are near. The U.S. House Committee on Financial Services has sent a letter to the FDIC, Chairman Martin Gruenberg, demanding information about the FDIC's sudden shift on digital asset regulations. The committee is pushing to uncover why the FDIC stopped developing crypto regulations and has set a deadline for internal communications by October 7th, 2024. Crucially, internal communications with the SEC will also be made public. Congress is stepping up its role, in crypto regulation, shown by the House Committee's demand for detailed records from the FDIC, the Federal Reserve, and the SEC. With key players like Patrick McHenry and Maxine Waters leading this charge, we're seeing a push to fast-track a solid regulatory framework for crypto. The timing is no accident. It matches the growing focus on digital assets, particularly with the rise of CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. This October 7th, 2024 deadline reveals an urgency in closing the regulatory gaps, sending a strong signal that clearer U.S. regulations are coming soon. So, hopefully, there'll be a follow-up to that and we'll get more details. And I'm sure Smoke Dog will grab it. But here's a copy of the letter sent by the committee to Mr. Gruenberg on September 23rd, 2024. And the next page shows exactly what they're asking for. To that end, please provide the following records and communications. And Smoke Dog highlights here all non-public records and communications between the FDIC and the SEC, Federal Reserve, and OCC related to intra-agency statement of crypto asset custody services and the related request for information regarding crypto asset custody ancillary activities. Goes on to say that what else they're asking for is all FDIC internal communications referring or related to the SEC, Fed, and OCC, regular treatment of digital assets, and then finally, please provide the materials as soon as possible, but no later than October 7th, 2024. So this is being requested, and they're going to have to get this to these folks, and I wanted to show you on that committee is Patrick McHenry is the chairman, Bill Huizenga, chairman of the Subcommittee of Oversight and Investigations, French Hill, chairman of the Subcommittee on Digital Assets, FinTech and Inclusion, and then Andy Barr, chairman of the Subcommittee on Financial Institutions and Monetary Policy. So, today's the 8th. They just got it yesterday. I'm sure they're going to have a lot to cover, but hopefully we'll see more on this in the coming weeks. And again, hopefully we see some regulation by the end of the year. Many don't believe that will happen just because there's so much going on in the world, and digital assets is not that high of a priority for Congress currently, but we will see what happens. Cointelegraph here says just in, Robinhood's chief legal officer to replace Gensler as SEC chair under Trump. Speculation rises that Dan Gallagher could take over as SEC chair if Trump wins, potentially bringing a pro-crypto shift in regulation. This would be great to see somebody that's pro-crypto and ready to take this industry to the next level and not hold it up as Chair Gensler has. Moving on to not financial advice here. He always puts out great videos. He says, words mean things, and this is where we're headed. Take a listen to this short 2-minute and 42-second video and drop your comments in the comment section. Let me know what you think he's talking about.
This will be the topic of a future video, but as we transition to the fourth industrial revolution and robots and automation begin rendering the jobs of today obsolete while greatly improving all our lives and dramatically reducing the cost of living, we will need new ways to pay people and figure out who gets what. An economy that depends on everyone working today's jobs to make money will simply not function because those jobs will not exist. That is why universal basic income is slowly being introduced. But with that will come rules for receiving it, effectively turning money into a global behavior mechanism. And the number one prioritized behavior will be to decrease net carbon emissions and increase sustainability. So that is the system Ripple is helping to build. And that is the system the SDGs, or the Fourth Industrial Revolution, as envisioned by every country and major corporation, requires for success. And it actually...
So I'll leave it there. I won't give you the whole thing just because it's a little longer, but you can see they're talking about, again, the change in the financial system and how sustainable development goals are going to be critical, how companies are going to have to adhere to those rules, carbon credits, all of that good stuff is going to be part of it. So give Not Financial Advice a follow. He does great videos very often. And finally, Chad Steingraber here brings to us BRICS plus UAE removing all tax from crypto transaction for a good reason, he says. So this is huge news with the UAE eliminating taxes on all crypto transactions. They are the first to do this, and I'm sure it won't be the last. But that is big, especially for those residing in and doing business in that jurisdiction. So good stuff there from Chad Steingraber. Appreciate you guys jumping on. Do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button along with the notification bell, and we'll see you on the flip side.